Hi, this is Lori, and this is a new homework series that I'm going to be doing following the Cogsworth City Adventure Kit that I got from Inventor.io. I'll talk a little bit about the kit, how I got it, and then talk about how we'll go through the lessons that are part of this kit. And in this episode, we'll do the lessons for day 1 and 2. So I just want to say that I'm not sponsored by anybody. I haven't been asked to make these. I bought this kit myself for fun, and this is one way that I support my learning is just to make videos, because I find if I make a video about stuff, then I usually can remember it, and if I can't remember it, I can always go back and watch that video again. So I do have another channel that I actually put my own original work on. And when I'm just following somebody else's lessons, then I'll put those videos here on this homework channel. Well, thought I'd talk a little bit about this kit, how I ended up with it, and why I decided to work through the lessons that were involved in the Cogsworth City Kit. I saw on various social media that Inventor.io was offering the Cogsworth City Kit for the cost of shipping, and I'd seen it a few times, and I'd also seen their other 30 Days in Space or something like that. So it caught my eye a couple of times, and I thought it was interesting. When I looked into how much it was going to cost me to get it shipped, it was about $8.50. But it included an Arduino clone board you can see here on the screen, some buttons, LEDs, resistors, and so forth. So I thought $8.50. Probably worth it just for the clone board, Arduino R3 clone board itself. So I went ahead and ordered one, and I was kind of also intrigued because the intent, I think, of these kits is to have a story that you're following along, and you're solving a problem by building the various circuits on each day. And I thought that was a really interesting and creative way to teach people all kinds of things, but electronics. And I wanted to see how they did that, and so I thought this kit would be a great way to get an idea of how that worked. All right, so I showed a quick picture of what was in the Cogsworth kit, and I'll point out a few things that I've done as I went through the 10 days, 10-day adventure for the Cogsworth City. As I'm recording this, there's nothing on day 10 at this point, but I am noticing that just as I'm working on this here in August 2024, some updates are being done to the lessons as I've been working on them. So I think this might be a new kit for this small company, and so I think they're working hard on trying to improve the lessons and finish it up. So that's just important to know if you're buying this, that, as of August 2024, the kit is, and the actual lessons that are part of the kit on the internet are not 100% done yet. But still, you can have a lot of fun with it. So let's just take a look at what I put together to work through these 10 days, 9 days right now. I'm hoping that the 10th day will be done so I can include it in my series here. But it all comes in this little box. It's very nice. And again, on the back you see the basic contents. Now it shows regular jumper wires that a lot of kits come with. It only came with, so we'll talk about that. It came with these. I have things kind of in bags that I happen to have around just to keep things organized. But it came with these really long ones, which I think was a choice, once you pulled them off of this strip here. They're pretty long jumper wires, and but they're nice ones. They're good, and they certainly would suffice. I find them a little too long and a little too bulky, so I kind of quit trying to use them as I was working through, and so that's what I have over here, some things that I kind of supplemented the kit with. So if you happen to have some of these things, perhaps from another kit, that most of the things I'm going to show here come from other kits that I bought over the years. Jumper wires do come in different lengths, and this is a really nice length for the way I have it set up. So I have a bunch of those, and then I like to have colors that kind of match LEDs and so forth. So I had a bunch of those handy, and so I use those. So if you're that kind of person and you happen to have them, just pull them out. So those are the jumper wires that came with, and I guess at this point I'll talk about, you see I have a bunch of funky looking wires over here. These are jumper wires that I made myself with my own. I bought some wire and some wire strippers, and you'll see me use these throughout my lessons, homework for the lessons, I guess I'll call it. I tend to make these so that they fit exactly how I want them to be, rather than using these, because sometimes you get so many of these on the circuit you can't see around them and work around them. So I tend to do a lot of power and ground, where I've made up little wires that are bent exactly how I want them to be, to give power and to ground things. So I have a bunch of those over here, and I'll kind of show them off as we go through the homeworks for the lessons. The other thing you'll notice is it did come with a half-size breadboard, and I 3D printed in the resource section of the lessons. There was some links to nice little project boards that people put together, and so I saw one of those that I liked that fit the half breadboard, and so our hero board can be put in here with that. I'll show that in a minute. So that's why I have this over here, and this is already, once you stick it in, and if you stick it in and pull the adhesive to make it stick, you can never get it back out again. So, but that was in there, but I 3D printed this little tray. The other thing I have in bags is the resistors. So it comes with, let's see, 100K, 1K, 10K, and 220 ohm resistors. So those are sufficient. In fact, I think the only thing you need for the projects are the 10K and the 220 ohm. These other ones I don't think I used for anything, but they have them, and I always tend to put them in some extra electronic bags I have. Little Ziploc bag, if you have some around, is kind of handy to keep those, because they're really, really small. These are not particularly high quality ones. They're very thin. Yeah, but that's pretty typical of a kit like this, so no complaints on that. It's just that you want to keep them all together. They're hard to read because they're so small. If you look at the colors, it'll tell you what the resistance level is, but I either use a multimeter, or I try to keep them in bags, because they are labeled here when you get it out of the box. They do have labels on them, so you don't have to figure it out, but it's possible to do with the multimeter, or to actually look at the banding and figure out what it is. All right, so those are some of the things I had already out of the box. So we'll open this up. So it comes with the cable that you'll need for the programming, which is great. And then this is the hero board I got. It's not the hero board you see in the advertisements. The hero board in the advertisements is black and white, and it actually has the Inventor IO symbol on here. I think it might even say hero. So this one is just a basic one. Maybe they had some extra ones before they kind of settled on their logo. I don't know. So this is the one I got, but it looks just like the black one. So this is the hero board, just without the logo, I guess. But you can see that fits, get it the right way, that fits right in there. And then you can put a screw in there, or you can just leave it. It'll sit nicely. And then you can, do all your projects and keep them in a neat little spot. So I found that nice little thing to use. I just thought I'd show off I happen to have an official Arduino Uno R3 board. This is what they look like, and so I guess we'll put these same way around, so you can see pretty similar, but a little different placement. So this is Inventor IO's version of this board. But there's lots of them that you can buy out there. And they're pretty inexpensive. If you buy the, official Arduino one, they're a little more expensive. Now, as of the time I'm recording this, the R3 is not the favored Uno now. We've moved up to the R4 Uno, which is better and more more capable, so forth. But people have done a lot of projects with these R3s, so people are still, putting code out there, putting projects out there that use these boards. The one thing I like that you get when you buy one from Arduino is you can see that the pins here that we'll do a lot of connecting up to in the projects, they're labeled, and it makes it a little easier to, when you're sticking the little these little jumpers in, when you're trying to pick a particular pin, it's a little easier to find which one you want. So that's actually a nice feature. You can do some labeling yourself. I've done that before with clones, because it does make it a little bit easier. But you can see it's labeled here on the inside, so you know what the pins do. You just sometimes have to look at it very carefully to make sure that you're getting into the right pin. So just wanted to show what a real one looks like. And I always buy at least one of the official boards, especially from Arduino, because they make all their boards open source, and that's why all these clones are available. And then the clones are significantly cheaper, no doubt. But this is the originator of the board, and I feel like they made it open source so that anybody could take their plans and make them. And I think that's fantastic. And so I always try to do some business with Arduino and to say thank you for that. Anyways. All right. When I bought this, of course, it was during their special when you just paid for shipping. And you were supposed to get 3 pieces, surprise pieces that were going to come. These are the 3 that I got. These are not sensors that I have ever used before. So I did look them up. I still haven't used them, so I really don't know how they work, but I'm looking forward to going through and doing some projects with these just to see how they work. They look fun and look interesting. So this one here is a magnetic spring, I think. So that one looks kind of interesting. Interesting little thing in here. I guess that's the spring in there. I think I have that right. It's possible I misidentified it. Then this one's a photo interrupter, so I guess we can place something in this little slot here, and we'll block a signal that's going between the 2 pieces, and that'll be the sensor. So, like, I guess you could imagine this as being a teeny tiny door or something like that, being opened and closed. So that looks fun. Photo interrupter. And then this is called a light cup, I think. Yeah, I have no idea what it does, but when you buy one of those 37-in-1 sensor kits for Arduinos, they're very cheap. You can get them from Inventor.io. They have a whole set of lessons I haven't really spent any time looking at yet, so I don't know what the quality of those are. They have a kit you can buy, but you can also get these on Amazon for pretty cheap. So if you want to mess around with these, but usually they come in pairs, so I'm not sure just having one of them is sufficient. But anyways, so I haven't messed with them at all, and none of these are part of the Cogsworth City lessons. And the next thing you get a lot of is you get several of these nice push button switches. I think there was 6 in them, different color tops. So that's something you would get in a typical beginning electronics kit. I have some labels on mine from the projects, so we'll see that. So you get 6 of those. You can power your Arduino board with this, so it'll plug into this jack here, and then you could power this board, I guess with a 9-volt battery. I've never tried that, so that might be interesting to do. I didn't see that as being needed in any of the exercises, so maybe that's just, I don't know, for fun. So you get all these switches. Also came with these pins, and when I looked at the board, I do notice that there's little holes in there. I guess I should pull the board out of here, not mount it in there. Pull it up. You can see, I'm guessing you could put these in and use it with some shields maybe or something. I'm not sure why you'd want to do that. Maybe you want to mount it this way and you'd have another way to access the pins. But you get that. Again, there's no need for that in doing the Cogsworth lessons, but it came with it. The two major sensors that were provided that we'll use in the kit are two photo resistors here. I'll bring it a little closer. So you get two of them. And we'll talk about, they're used in several of the projects. And then you can see there's a bunch of LEDs. I actually, I wanted certain colors as I went through, so I definitely supplemented this. I want to say there was 10 originally, and I wanted certain colors, so I just started throwing some LEDs. I have a bunch from various kits, so I just got a collection here going of various LEDs. But you get plenty of LEDs to do the project, so of a few different colors, but I think I wanted some blues, I want to say. I think it came with a white. I didn't never use that. So anyways, that's what's in the kit. I mentioned the different jumper wires that I used, so we'll talk about that. There's a few other things that I think if you had them, I'm gonna maybe do some. I'm gonna do some project, not maybe, that use some potentiometers. So a lot of times in the projects, the photoresistor is used to adjust like LED lighting levels, and it's just a little hard sometimes to really adjust your LED using light because you can only cover it so much or get it so bright depending on the light you have access to. Whereas if you did some of those projects with some potentiometers, these are two different kinds that I've had from kits, you can adjust brightness of an LED using these. So I will do some alternate versions of the projects using some potentiometers. At one point, one of the lessons also suggested having a buzzer, so and you can add some sound. These are, again, pretty cheap. All of these are cheap things to get, and if you have another kit, they would probably come in it. These are really small push buttons, so they're exactly the same function as these larger ones, and I do like these large ones because they're easy for you to punch. But when you have a very small space here, these take a lot of space on a breadboard, so sometimes I like using these really small ones. And I happen to have a whole bunch of them, and I got them in different colors, which I kind of like, so you can match them to the color of your LED. So you may see me use these in some of the lessons too. And then at one point, some of the code included a monitoring temperature. I think that like literally yesterday that got taken out of the lesson, but I did do one of the days with using this DHT11 temperature and humidity sensor. And so they're also pretty cheap and often come in beginning electronics kits. So if you happen to have one of those, well, you'll see that I'll use this and show how to use this in the code. So those were a few extra things that I'll use as we go through the lessons for Cogsworth City. So that's the kit, and that's how it looks, and that's a little bit about some of the things that I'm going to do with this kit. So I'm at the web page where you would follow the lessons for the kit. As you can see, here's the 10 days. Some of the lessons are not as complete as others, and day 10 doesn't have anything at this point. I think this is one of their newer kits, and it's not fully done yet. So that might be a little disappointing to people. Then there's some additional classes that you can take. You'll notice I've done some of those, and I'll probably make some videos about these as well. Here we are at day 1, and it's about getting your board set up, loading the Arduino IDE, and blinking an LED connected to pin 13. So it'll also blink the LED that's built into the Arduino Uno. Well, I should say the Hero board. It's a Arduino Uno clone. All right, so that's what we do in day one. And I'm going to just share some of the things I thought about each lesson. I'm not going to put the videos in. If anybody wants to go look at them, this is open. You don't have to have a special code to get to the lessons. You can just make an account and go in and look at the lessons and see whether they're interesting to you. So I have my Arduino IDE with the code up here for what we need for day one. I'm not going to do day two. I think I'll put that into the next video because I want to talk a little bit about day two. But I do have it set up, so part of this with this button here, that's for day two. So for day one, all we need is the LED. Now first up, you'll see that I've used some of my homemade jumper wires to bring the power and create a power rail, and then I've also jumpered over the ground to make a ground rail, and then down here I've passed both of them to the other side of the breadboard. That's something I found over the last couple of years of studying this stuff, that's a really, I just do that right from the very beginning of working on any kind of project, because you never know when you're going to want power, ground, and whether you're going to want it on one side or the other. So I tend to almost always just put these on to make the power and ground go all the way around. Now I set up my LED just a little bit different than the diagram. The diagram is fine. I just found that this is sometimes a little more efficient when you have very little space on a half board. So my long leg of my LED is on this side of the trench here, and my short leg is on this side, and the short leg connects into this resistor, and the resistor connects into ground. So that's how I have it set up, and then we're taking our signal line and plugging it into pin 13 to do the blinking. Okay, we're finally getting to the code and getting started on this on these lessons. So for day one, we're supposed to blink that internal LED and the LED connected to pin 13. So because they're connected to pin 13, they'll both blink because that internal LED is connected to pin 13. And I'll just point it out. It's right about here. You'll see it flash when we do this code. And I set up my pin mode a little bit differently. There's like a reserved word for this LED called LED built-in. And so instead of saying pin 13 here, I'm just saying LED built-in, which just means pin 13. It's setting up as an output, and then the rest of the code is kind of the same, except for I'm using the LED built-in variable instead of whatever pin 13 was used in the code for the lesson. So everything else is the same, and I've loaded it already. So let's just plug it in and give it some power, and it should start flashing. And yeah, you can see it, and you can see, yeah, here's the internal LED. It's right here on the hero board, and you can see the big flashing green LED there. So yeah, that's the very first program that everybody should do when they learn a microcontroller for the first time. It's kind of the hello world of microcontrollers, so everybody does a flash and LED to make sure they've got everything working, and it's the first thing to learn. And LEDs are nice to learn with. They're fun, and they're relatively harmless, so you can't get into trouble messing around with them, so it makes sense to start there. Well, I want to thank you for joining me in this Cogsworth City Kit, and we'll cover day two in the next video. Thanks for joining me.